আমার ভিডিওতে সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি। এর আগের দিন আমরা কথা বলেছিলাম পার্ট 1 এবং 2 নিয়ে, যে কোয়েশ্চেনগুলো 2024 সালের এপ্রিল পর্যন্ত আপনারা পাবেন। আপনারা জানেন এই প্রশ্নগুলো কমন থাকে। আপনারা হয়তো অনেকেই কিউরিয়াস থাকতে পারেন যে প্রশ্ন কই থেকে পেলাম। এগুলো আপডেট হয়, আপনি সাবস্ক্রাইব করলে আপনিও আপডেট পেতে পারেন, বাট সেখানে আপনাকে পে করতে হবে। আমি পে করেছি এগুলোর জন্য। ওকে, লেটস গেট স্টার্টেড। পার্ট 1 পার্ট 2 বলেছি, আজকে পার্ট 3 যে কোয়েশ্চেনগুলো আসবে সেগুলো নিয়ে কথা বলবো। লেটস গেট স্টার্টেড। প্রথম কোয়েশ্চেন হলো, হোয়াট আর দ্য ডিফারেন্সেস বিটুইন পেইন্টিং অ্যান্ড ড্রয়িং? What are the differences between painting and drawing? Why do people keep some paintings for a long time? Why do people keep some paintings for a long time? Does the design of the building influence people's mood or affect people? Does the design of the building influence people's mood or affect people? What types of art do people in your country like? What kinds of art are the most valuable in terms of monetary value? What kinds of art are the most valuable in terms of monetary value? Why do some paintings have higher value in terms of monetary value? Why do some paintings have higher value than others? Would you say art is important? Photography. Is equipment important for taking photos? Do people take more pictures now compared to the past? Do you think being a professional photographer is a good job? Is it easier to take pictures now than in the past? Parties. Why do some people dislike parties? What do adults do at parties? How do people celebrate their personal events? What do children do at a birthday party? Why do some people organize family parties in your country? Okay. Parks. Why do some people like planting flowers? Do young people like to go to the parks? What do old people like to do in parks? What are the benefits of going to the park for young people and old people? What are the benefits of going to the park for young people and old people? What do we need to prepare when we need to cook? Do you agree that food is an important part of traditional festivals? More and more people are unwilling to cook. Why is this happening? Is it important to have meal together with your family? Science. What science subject is the most important for children to learn? Why do some people not like learning science at school? Do you think science is important? Should children learn science? Which area of science is the most important in the last 100 years? Do you think science can change our society? Which do you think is more important, science or social studies? Okay, now science-এর পরে আমাদের যে টপিক সেটা হলো rules. What are some examples of rules that exist in many families? What rules should children follow at home? What are some rules that exist in schools or workplaces in your country? Why do some people refuse to abide by rules? Relationships. Can you say something about a person's character judging by clothes they wear? How and where do people in your country make friends these days? Are there any differences in the relationship between you and your friends and between you and other people? Do you feel lonely in crowded cities? Changes. How can a person adapt to changes in life? Why do some people quit and change jobs? Do you like new things or changes in life? What are the daily experiences that people have to wait for? What are the daily experiences that people have to wait for? On what occasions do people usually need to wait? Do you think children have more patience than adults? Why do most children have difficulties waiting for a long time? Who behaves better when waiting, a child or an adult? What can you do while waiting in line? Why do people dislike waiting? Do people in your country like waiting in line? How do people respond to bad service? Why do some people choose to remain silent when they receive bad service? As a customer, what what kinds of services do you expect from a company? What is good service? Who should be responsible for a bad service? As a boss, what would you do to prevent bad service? What should companies do if a product appears to be faulty? When does good customer service play the most important role? Do you think robots can sometimes provide better customer service than people? Do you think that customers' expectations are too high? Why is it that some companies don't provide good service? How can a company maintain the quality of the service that gives to the public? How can companies improve customer service? Is it better in large shops or in small shops? What characteristics do you think an adult athlete should have? What kind of sports are popular in your country? What are the benefits of sports for children? Do children need to exercise? Computers. What do people use? What do people use computers for? Should students be allowed to use computers at a school? What do you think of people? What are the addicted to playing computer games? Should parents limit their amount of time that children spend using computers? Do you think parents should give advice to their children? What are the areas in which people are more or less willing to accept advice? What advice do parents usually give to children? Do you prefer advice from your family or your friends? Why do so many young people, not accept the advice of older people? Some people find it easier to accept advice than other people do. Why do you think there is this difference? In general, what kind of person is most suitable for giving advice to others? Do you think it's okay if professional advice costs a lot? What problems can people face if they ask many different people for advice? Which do you think is better, advice from young people or advice from older people? When somebody gives you some advice, do you usually follow this advice or do you usually insist on your own opinion? When somebody gives you some advice, do you usually follow this advice or do you usually insist on your own opinion? What kinds of family businesses are common in your country? Do you think family businesses, what do you think of family businesses? Is it good to work uh, with family members? Why do people want to do family business? Why is it that people achieve success faster? What factors lead to success? Are successful people often lonely? What do people need to sacrifice for success? Cities. Why do people like to visit historical places? What can do to stop visitors from damaging historical places? Is it hard to protect historical buildings? Should old buildings be preserved? How do people in your country feel about old buildings? What is interesting about old buildings? Is having too many tourists a positive thing or a historical attractions? Is having too many tourists a positive thing for historical attractions? When do children begin to have their own ideas and opinions? Do you think children will always have ideas and opinions similar to those of their parents? Are children's opinion influenced by their parents? What encourages people to come up with new ideas or inventions? How do inventors or philosophers come up with new ideas? Do you agree that people should spend more time reading about the ideas of famous thinkers of the past, whose ideas or opinions are widely accepted in your country? How can people access travel information? How do young and old people react differently to new things? Is it just youngsters who like to try new things, or do people of your parents' age like to try new things? Should young people try as many new activities as possible? Why are some people afraid of trying new things? Do you think it's better to have new experiences when you are young or you are older? Advertising. Which one is more effective, newspaper advertising or online advertising? Do you think of online advertising? What are the most advertised products in your country? How do ads make us buy what we don't need at all? How do ad makes people buy new products? Do you think advertisement can change and influence our decisions when shopping? What role does social media play in advertising? What are the advantages of advertising? Do you think the influence of advertising is good? What do you think is key to overcoming difficulties? How do people overcome challenges? What rewards can companies offer to outstanding employees? What rewards do people get at work? What jobs do you think are difficult to do? On what occasions would people feel proud of themselves? Is it popular to learn English in your country? Why are so many people learn English? Do you think English will be the mainstream language of the world in the future? Can people learn English? And not other languages? Why do people learn foreign languages? Why do you think learning a language is important? Is it important to learn foreign languages? Is it more important to learn foreign languages now than before? Is it easier for young people to learn language than for older people? What are the difficulties of learning a new language? What difficulties do people face when learning a language? What can people do to learn a foreign language? What's the best way to learn a foreign language? When do people usually feel tired? What can make people feel tired? In general, how do people judge or assess the success of others? Is money the only measure of success in your country? Do you believe being successful and making a lot of money are the same thing? How do people achieve success at a school? What are the factors in uh, what are the factors that influence students' grades at a school? How do people achieve success at a school? Do you believe being successful and making a lot of money are the same thing? What skills do people need to take part in adventurous activities? Why do young people like doing exciting things? History. Do you agree that learning history may help people understand the present? Is it true that modern society has much to learn from the past? What are the differences between learning history from books and from videos? Why is it that some leaders fail to learn from the past? How can people learn about history? How can technology make learning history more interesting? Why do museums teach people history? Are history museums useful? ওকে, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। আমার প্রশ্নটার সাথে সাথে আপনি উত্তর দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করবেন, তাহলে আপনার একটা ভালো প্র্যাকটিস হয়ে যাবে।